All right, hello everybody. Hello Doris. Hello S. Hello Emia. Welcome back to Witch on the Holy Night / Mahoyo. Last time we had an epic, super high budget, freaking visual novel fight where Aoko tried to kill Soujirouu and failed. Except they were both hunted down in the abandoned amusement park by another magical robot that was quite strong. Hello V-Bam, welcome to the stream. And by working together, surprisingly, Soujirouu not unlocking any kind of magical abilities yet, they were able to defeat it by just a hair's breadth and escape together. And due to his courage and, you know, helping her survive, she decided to let him go. Hello Dustblight, welcome to the stream. However, a certain somebody did not like this and took issue with Aoko breaking the taboo of having a mortal having seen magic. And this was Alice, her senior witch. So we leave here as now Alice has returned, ready to pass judgment where Aoko failed. Let's go. And yep, no new thing over there. Just making a triple check. Let's go. Night of the Witches 2, The Revenge. The melody stirred an emotion like nostalgia within them. Something once familiar but now lost to this world. They believed beyond a shadow of a doubt that it would play for all eternity. From opening stanza to final coda, it was a mysterious siren's song, merry yet longing, that heralded a return from dreams to reality. Ooh, the night shook. A song was spun. Now their lost paradise was unearthed. Abandoned dreams. Forsaken idols. They all responded to the cry of the blue cat. The name of that bell was Diddle Diddle, Banquet of the Night. All fables made possible, all marvels made real, by the magecraft of Alice Kwanji, more magical than magic itself. Is that her ability? Jeez.
随分と身勝手ね。
How selfish of you.
それはあなた一人で決めていいことだったかしら、青子。
Is that something you can really decide on your own, Aoko? Alice sat perched atop the clock tower like a black bird of ill omen. She smoothed the ruffles of her skirt as if she were preening.
アリス。
Alice! There was tension in Aoko's voice as she lifted her head. The calm atmosphere from a moment prior had long since been shooed away by Alice's gaze.
あの子、確か。That girl. I've seen her somewhere before.
Soujirouu searched his hazy memory. He could not clearly make out her face at this distance, but he was sure he had seen her around town a number of times. Where and when eluded him, however, as the tension in the air kept him from connecting all the dots.
驚いた。随分と仲間思いになったのね、アリス。今夜は私に任せるんじゃなかったっけ？
Well, isn't this a turn of events? I didn't know you cared so much, Alice. I thought you were going to leave tonight to me. Aoko readied her guard and took a half step forward. Unconsciously. From an objective standpoint, it almost looked as if she were protecting the figure beside her. Alice's silence grew even heavier. Her eyes, fixed on the ground below her, were devoid of emotion. An indescribable sadness of a sense of dread and pressure laid claim over the plaza.
Kone? A bell.
If he strained his ears, he could make out the faint ringing of a bell echoing in the distance. The rippling sound waves seemed unbelievably to be emanating from under the ground.
Na, Ozaki, あの子
Hey, Ozaki. That girl, she's...
黙ってて。
Quiet! Soujirouu stepped back, trying to stay out of the way. It was as though he'd been told to go to hell. Damn. For the crime of asking if the girl was Aoko's friend.
そうね。仲間思いに当てはまるかは微妙だけど、良くない予感がしたから様子を見に来ただけ。
I wouldn't go as far as to say I cared. I simply had a feeling something might be wrong and came to check.
別にあなたの仕事を疑ったわけじゃないわ。
It's not as though I had any doubts regarding your ability to handle the job.
それはどうも。どうせならもう少し早くその良くない予感とやらに気づいてほしかったけど。
Much appreciated. It would have been nice if you had thought to come check just a bit earlier, though.
でもま、ご覧の通り自己解決したわ。
As you can see, things seem to have worked themselves out.
夜も遅いし、さっさと帰っていいわよ、アリス。私の仕事っぷりを疑うわけじゃないんでしょ？
It's late, so don't let me keep you, Alice, since you have no doubts about my ability, right? Their eyes locked on one another. Alice's stare was uncomfortably cold. Aoko's was bold, daring Alice to air her complaints.
いえ、気が変わったわ。
Ooh. I think I've changed my mind.
せっかくだし二人で帰りましょう。その方があなたらしいわ。帰りしな、人形の話でも聞かせてちょうだい。
I'm here now, so why don't the two of us go home? That's more your style anyway, Aoko. You can tell me all about your adventures with the puppet on the way.
らしいって何よ、らしいって。
What's that supposed to mean?
いいから帰れ帰れ、ぐうたらアリス。部屋に閉じこもって役に立たないムクドリでも作ってろっての。
Damn! Go home, Alice! Shut yourself in your room and make some more of your worthless birds. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. A disappointed sigh escaped Alice's delicate lips. It seems that the black-clad girl was more astonished than angry.
青子、口にしたくないけど、本気？
Aoko, I hate to say this, but seriously? Quietly, Alice questioned her roommate of nearly 2 years. Hello, Surge, welcome to the stream.
呆れた。二人で秘密を守ると言ったのに。
You surprised me. Did you not say we would protect our secret together?
まだ半端にそっち側なの？それとも情でも移った？
Are you still having trouble letting go of the other side? Or has compassion taken hold of you?
別に、情っていうより私の気分よ。
Not at all. This isn't compassion. I just feel like doing it this way.
だいたい方針なんてその場その場で変わるもんでしょ。気分ならなおさらよ。
No plan survives contact with the enemy. You know that. The same goes for my mood.
そっちこそ一度した約束は絶対守るなんて時代遅れなんじゃない？
Besides, who goes out of her way to keep a promise she made forever ago? A little old-fashioned if you ask me. The proverbial knives were out now. No quarter was given nor taken. Sadly, their partnership was one out of convenience and had not reached the level of mutual understanding. Damn, what a thing for a witch to say. Jeez. Their version of friendship was both delicate and unique. When a conflict of opinion arose, each would refuse to budge until the other crumbled. Neither was concerned for the other's plight, and at least for now, that was how they liked it.
そうね。今の暴言はあなたらしいとは思うけど。
So, yeah, basically they've been reiterating the fact that they're more acquaintances than friends. You know, I've come to expect stupid outbursts like that from you. Hello, Sancho. Welcome to the stream. Once again, she let out a sigh, even larger than the one before.
言い争いは後にしましょう。
Why don't we save this argument for later?
そこの彼をいなかったことにするのは私だけで十分だし。
Oh boy. I knew it. I can make him disappear on my own. Finally, she struck straight to the point. As if making to move a chess piece, Alice lifted her slender finger. Oh boy. How's he going to survive this?
Huh?
Even this simple action seemed mysterious to Soujirouu, the same boy who had been haunted by his classmate Aoko and borne witness to an automaton. Aoko's violence and an animated doll. Though perhaps far beyond the realm of logic, both these things were derived from reality. As surprised he had been, there was no need to think of them as total mysteries. However, when the thing appeared out of thin air from a seemingly unrelated gesture, he had no words for it beyond mysterious. Soujirouu stood motionless, captivated by the stage performer's magic trick, as the girl's single-finger magecraft turned into an attack directed at him. Oh! Oh shit. A blue light flew inside to repel it, annihilating it without a trace. Oh, wow. Oh, crap. Aoko immediately regretted her reflexive shot.
どういうこと？約束を曲げただけじゃなく、ルールまで破るつもり？
What are you doing? You're not satisfied with breaking just our promise, but so you must break the rules as well? The already chilled midwinter air plunged below freezing. Alice looked calm and collected on the outside, but in reality she was sometimes even more hot-blooded than Aoko. This was especially true when it concerned her familiars. Accidentally breaking one would often result in a week of silent treatment. But against someone who maliciously destroyed her things, Alice was prone to retaliate without warning.
あっちゃー、いつかやるとは思ったけど、ついに激鱗に触れちゃったか。
Damn, so that's not just a random thing. That's like that she can just materialize whenever. Interesting to note. I thought it was like akin to Aoko's fireballs, but apparently these her stuff takes a while to do. Oops, I figured I'd do that someday, but I could not have picked a worse time. Aoko sighed at herself. Even she was exasperated by her own stupidity, yet she couldn't help but feel a pang of relief. She did not intend to make any excuses, and she had no regrets. She had broken the rules, and so had Alice.
青子
Aoko.
なんていうか
How do I put it? If anything, this took a load off her mind. After all, now there was no going back. Oh shit. Aoko never intended to break her own rules. If there was anything for Aoko to regret, it was putting too little power into her shot.
私的に今夜こいつに死なれるのは困るのよ。
Damn. Once she commits, but if she changes her mind, then she changes her mind. My god. I have a problem with this guy dying tonight.
なんで日を改めて殺しに来てくれないアリス。いいでしょ、たった1日ぐらい。
So, can we reschedule the execution? What difference does the day make? To Aoko, it was simply natural to take on a pro bono case in defense of an innocent suspect.
それは市場
Is this personal?
悪い？一宿一般の恩義って割と大事にしてるの、私。
So what if it is? You know that paying back my debts is pretty important to me.
私との協定より
More important than our agreement.
ええ、時と場合によっては。
Sure, depending on the time and place. Soujirou's human rights had not yet entered the argument. The girls were busy pouring oil on each other's flames. Hello, Ut. Welcome to the stream. The girl clad in black was the first to move, or rather to erupt.
そうよくわかったわ青子
I see. I understand how you feel, Aoko.
私は彼をここで殺す
But I am going to have to kill him here.
あなたは彼をここだけ生かす
I believe that you would let him live.
つまり私と戦うということでいい
Shall I take that to mean you're ready to fight me for it?
そんなのいいわけないじゃない。
You know damn well I'd rather not. Aoko picked back the retort. Hello, Frog. Welcome to the stream. No, this is not a sequel. This is the remake of the first story in this universe. She was very familiar with Alice's magecraft. Knew painfully well how many mystics were hidden in Alice's tiny body. What does that mean? I guess we'll learn about that terminology later. The odds of victory were essentially non-existent. And once the first shot had been fired, Alice Kwamji was without mercy. Whether facing a roommate or a friend, a most beloved family member or a stranger, once Alice began to fight as a witch, she became a heartless, unflappable monster. Aoko advanced another half step forward, as if to encourage herself. It was too late to back down now. The situation was no longer a trivial quarrel over a witness. The bedrock of their so-called friendship had nothing to do with their individual abilities, and everything to do with being equals in will. That is why, in order to stay true to herself, Aoko had no room for compromise or deception.
もちろんあんたを殺すことになってもそこのバカは生かしきるわ。それに
Of course. I'm gonna make sure this idiot lives, even if it means killing you. And besides... Her magic circuits howled as they kicked into gear. Her body, which had mostly been dormant during the battle with the puppet, ignited, trying to demonstrate its true worth. Ah, she's unleashing her true power.
それにどの道最後には殺し合う仲でしょ私たち。
We're gonna end up killing each other in the end anyway! Her courage overpowered any fear she had for her opponent. Oh boy. Turning her body, her magic circuits, to become like the barrel of a gun, Aoko fired a magic bullet. It was an exceedingly basic magecraft formula. There was no nature interference, no creating of wind, parting of water, nor hastening of decay. It was simply a process of converting the imaginary activity known as magical energy into something real before releasing it as heat. Thus, Aoka's destructive power was equal to her supply of magical energy. Hey, AJ. The magic bullets she had used against Soujirouu were among the most basic single-action magecraft that did not require an incantation. At her present ability, Aoka's main mode of attack, her magic bullet, could be fired at 3 levels of power. These were at the 2nd level. This required a double-action magecraft, a casting through activation of her crest combined with a simplified incantation. I wish it was, AJ. However, she got shields. Without blinking, Alice dispersed the shots that Aoko had mustered all of her spirit to fire. Aoko tutted in frustration. A swift sneak attack that used a simplified incantation would not be enough to break Alice's guard.
相変わらずお堅いこと。そのから一段と独りよがりになってるんじゃない？
As stiff as ever, I see. Don't you think that shell is making you complacent? Aoko provoked Alice in order to disguise her own lack of composure. Somehow Alice seemed delighted by Aoko's bravado.
売り言葉に買い言葉というやつね。
I suppose this is what they call fighting words.
こういう勢いだけのきっかけは初めてだけど。
I've never fought to the death for such a trivial reason.
驚いたわ。こんなくだらない理由でもその気になるものなのね、人間って。
I'm really shocked. Humans are such conceited creatures. Alice giggled. Smiling with heartfelt amazement, Alice gestured her left hand toward the earth. Stab, 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 stab! Countless utensils shot out from underneath the cobblestones paving the plaza.
しずきくん、後ろに飛んで。
Suzuki, get back!
Huh?
She grabbed his hand as she shouted, jumping backward before he even had a chance to respond. As if they had wills of their own, the utensils that had suddenly appeared from the ground gave chase. As a barrier of spears grew around them, Aoko and Soujirouu put some distance between themselves and the clock tower.
これで終わり？
Is that all you've got? Just under 30 feet stood between them and Alice. The lethal weapons that had crumbled the stone beneath them fell short of what Aoko had anticipated. They now encircled the clock tower, making the scene look like the burning of a witch at the stake.
普通逆じゃない？ここは私たちを逃がさないよう槍で周りを囲むものでしょ。
Isn't this backwards? You'd expect the spirits to try and stop us from escaping. The path behind them was safe. If they wanted, they could try to make a break for the main gate and escape. That's where she's trying to lead them.
いいのアリス。悪いけど逃げられるなら逃げるわよ。私。
Nope, she's doing this on purpose. Oh, shit. You sure about this, Alice? Sorry, but if you're gonna let me escape, I'm not gonna pass the chance up. If she could just make it back to town, it would be Aoko's win. All she wanted to do was let Soujirouu get away for the night, so she could get back to him, back to the city. It would be, for the most part, mission accomplished. Huh? Or so she had thought, without even offering a glance at her targets below. Alice carefully and lovingly pulled a bottle out from her pocket.
緑のフラスコ
A green flask?
あれって確かやばとにかくファイヤ
Wait, that's... Damn it, fire! Her shot was deflected with ease. Gone was Aoko's earlier bravado. It was only natural. Aoko had indeed grown as a mage. Over the last 2 years of study, her studies had progressed well, and she'd more or less gotten a grasp on her own roommate's tendencies and abilities. This had made her conceited enough to believe that under favorable circumstances, she'd be able to show Alice a thing or two in a fight. Alice uncorked the magical bottle. A gentle breeze caressed her cheek. Diddle diddle fled as a new player stepped onto the stage. But from where would it enter? Oh shit. Sound of footsteps. A nostalgic parade approached. Oh boy, that doesn't sound good at all. Are we back in La Mancha land? Oh shit. Oh god. No way. What emerged was a miracle that Aoko Ozaki, an apprentice mage, had never witnessed. The dead came to life. The inanimate awakened. The woods were enveloped by the mists. Fire-breathing lizards lurked in the swamps. Puppets made merry at midnight. Alice Konji's slender fingers had transfigured the entirety of the park, as if gently stroking the back of an elderly cat. The music is going in.
いいわ。ごっこ遊びをしましょう、青子。
Very well. Let us play pretend, Aoko. For one night, the wasteland of dashed hopes and dreams was restored to its former glory. It was an immortal monster ready to devour reality. A dark fairy tale that once unleashed would never let its prey escape.
逃げられるものなら逃げてみせて。
Run, if you dare.
どこまで行けるかわからないけど、この夜を越えることができたのなら、
Oh shit.
あなたの勝ちにしてあげる。
I don't believe you'll get far, but if you can survive the night, I'll concede this round to you. Her declaration marked the start of a desperate battle. The witch in black laughed at her friend, her musical mirth filled with affection, sadness, and innocent delight. Faded glory returned to Kitsyland. The neon glow of innumerable lights illuminated the night. Speakers filled the air with the sound of vinyl music. Merry-go-rounds, small and large, whirled round and round. All in all, it made for a mind-bending spectacle. It was certainly possible to power the facilities by transmuting magical energy into electricity via alchemy. That said, simply supplying the park with electricity would not have brought back to life that which was broken. The young woman did this not by mixing chemicals into a compound, but by melting down divine providence into a witch's brew.
まずいわね。アリスのプロイは何個か見てきたけど、今回のは桁が違う。
This is bad. I've seen her ploys, and this one is something completely new.
セット。
Connecting. Oh, Connecting. Shifting her anxiety, Aoko fired up the crest on her right arm. If magic circuits were a mage's engine, then their crest was software that assisted their magecraft. For the fledgling mage Aoko, this was her trump card. All she had to do was supply magical energy to her crest-based formula. It may not have been the strongest magecraft, but it was hers. Proof that she was the successor of the Aozaki lineage.
講師2層直流数門
Execute double layer. Direct current to crest. Damn, the magic in this world is like, literally is like sci-fi. It feels like. The pattern of her crest shifted to execute the formula, which then connected to their magic circuits. The process resembled trains changing rails, a puzzle involving dozens of circuits. She constructed it as swiftly as possible without sacrificing the quality of its construction. Instant magecraft cast without an incantation would not be enough to reach Alice Kwanji. Aoko had gauged the strength of Alice's defense with her initial shots. She would dial up the power 5 times the next time, driving 20 tons of force into her target. Alice had the protection of the thick hanging fog and the dense barrier around her. However, this attack would be more than enough to pierce through both. If Aoko struck home, it could cave in Alice's chest and end the fight. At worst, it would at least knock Alice down from her position atop the clock tower.
そろそろいいかな
Oh, jeez.
Hey, I have a question.
As always, there was one guy who spoiled the deadly tension, pulling Aoko out of killer mode. Soujirouu, I've been looking back and forth between Aoko and Alice in confusion.
それでどういう話になったんだ
What's going on now?
He said it like he might ask for directions to the train station. Normally she would lash out in response, but his deadly serious tone shocked rather than angered her.
信じられない慣れてきた私
Unbelievable. Is this my life now? Aoko swallowed back a sigh and returned her focus to activating her crest.
交渉は決裂ちょっと怒らせすぎた
Negotiations have broken down. I pissed her off a bit too much.
あの子から見ればまあいい機会だし遊園地ごと私を亡き者にしようって腹ね
From her perspective, this is a good chance to kill me off. Along with the entire theme park, I guess.
Huh?
Soujirouu tilted his head, as if begging for a simpler explanation.
私割とあの子に恨まれてるから捕まったが最後どんな風に殺されるか想像すらできないわ
She's really got it in for me. I can't even imagine what sort of death she has in store if she catches me.
要するにあんたも私もあの子をどうにかしないと生きて帰れないってことよ
What I'm saying is, neither of us are getting out of this alive, unless we do something about her.
そんなとばっちりだ
So you're saying I got dragged into your quarrel?
まあそういうことになるかもね
Pretty much! As Soujirouu protested in a tone wholly inappropriate to the situation, Aoko let out another blast rip from her right arm. She was not aiming at Soujirouu, though. A little earlier in the day, and Aoko would have been happy to do exactly that, but now her attention was focused on the girl in black atop the clock tower. Aoko's mind struggled to catch up to her astonishment. She had fired the strongest, fastest magic bullet she had the ability to conjure, and Alice blocked it. That much was to be expected. When Alice set her mind to defending herself, such an attack was child's play. But what just happened? Something Aoko had never seen before left Alice's defense. A team of horses, a plague of locusts. No, those existed in the real world, unlike what Alice had just witnessed. Normal creatures could not form like a spontaneous cloud of fog and then dissipate just as quickly into the night sky. Oh shit. What? Impossible things moved in impossible ways. Alice was not even supplying them with any power source. Those things never needed power in the first place. Those broken and discarded things that did not follow the rules of mankind. Well, shit. This was an invasion of fairy tales. Compared to them, the automaton looked merciful. Autonomous puppets were products of magecraft, but even they behaved as puppets should. These newly animated things, however, were nothing of the sort. Empty vessels became living creatures. Dummies warped into malformed beings. There was a fog so dense with magical energy, it visibly spread to all corners of the park, bringing with it a monstrous welcoming party that easily numbered over 1,000. Spurred on by this shuddering sensation running down her spine, Aoko fired a barrage of single-action magic bullets. Her impulsive attack scattered futilely. The knights of the merry-go-round soared into the sky. Green fire-breathing lizards flocked. The bakeries opened their doors once again, and human-sized loaves of fresh bread marched from their ovens as platoons of newly baked soldiers.
Aozaki, uchiro!
Ozaki, behind you!
Aoko and Soujirouu were completely surrounded. The Ferris wheel creaked as it gently turned. A rickety train car raced about the roller coaster tracks with Kitsy, tears streaming down its face abroad. It was a grossly twisted fantasy. The girl in black resigned over the Insanity Field Park. Is this called... I'm guessing this might be called Wonderland? Given her name is Alice, and it would fit the theme. Jeez. Oh. No, we're screwed. Aoko was transfixed by the scene unfolding around her. Then she realized what was happening.
そうだ。これは。
Oh, I know what this is. Alice had once told her of Mindster's familiars. Among them there were 3 of particular notoriety, one of which she recalled being capable of something similar to this. And it was called...
プロイキッシャ。
Damn it.
フラットスナーク。
Damn, I would not have guessed that in a trillion years. Ploy kickshaw flat snark.
青崎、だから後ろ！
That sounds just like some nonsense words.
Seriously, Ozaki, behind you!
Struck by Aoko's bullets, the creature exploded into splinters. It was clear Aoko's shots were becoming more powerful. But it was also the case that these beings were less robust than your average automaton.
しずきくん、こっち。
Suzuki, this way! Doesn't she have only like 30 overall, and she's spent quite a bunch of them already? Aoko turned away from the clock tower, grabbed his hand, and began to run.
青崎！
Wait, Ozaki!
ごめん、これ無理。
Sorry, no time!
逃げるわよ。
We're running!
逃げるってどこに？
Running to where?
どこって、とにかく行けるところまで。
It doesn't matter. Anywhere! She shouted as though trying to persuade herself as she valiantly cleared a path. Aoko's magic bullets flew like a stream, blowing away the creatures that blocked her simply gathered around their path. She made a hole for them to escape through. Damn. Magical bullets exploded like blue fireworks. Aoko and Soujirouu ran down the bumpy brick road. Their bond, forged in the heat of battle, went far beyond mutual convenience. They head for the park's exit at full speed without exchanging a word or a look. The weirdness only extended as far as the park border, so they'd be safe as long as they made it outside. But, speaking in pure numbers, the difference in strength was 2 versus an army. Or rather, 1 versus an army. Soujirouu was hardly useful in this situation, and manpower wasn't really the issue here, since they were facing puppets.
さっきの大丈夫？上からこうでっかいハサミが落ちてきたけど。
You okay? Those are some giant pincers back there! Aoko shouted as she blasted away the monsters that stood in their path. There was no time to stop for breath, or even to look back.
なんとかギリギリ。
Yeah, just barely.
As Soujirouu pursued, his voice too had naturally become shrill. 5 minutes earlier, they had broken out of the siege at the plaza surprisingly fast. It seemed that the residents' awakening differed case by case, with larger creatures taking additional time.
ラッキー、朝に弱いタイプばっかと見た。
We're lucky they're not the morning type! Aoko joked as she mowed down the small fry that popped up. But then, without warning, something outrageous extended its way down from above them. It was the claws of the 60-foot lobster adorning the roof of a seafood restaurant. Oh my god! Its pincers were like a guillotine. As Aoko and Soujirouu cut across the front of the restaurant, the Red King pressed in at tremendous speed, keen on spitting them each in two. Fucking Red Lobster, man.
しずきくん、言えた。こっちはダメ。
You're only good for your cheese bread. Suzuki, hard about! Oh, this way's no good! The gate was just on the other side of the restaurant, but they had to take the long way around in order to lose the giant lobster snapping at their heels. Waiting along their detour had been a horde of monsters, too many to count.
なんとかギリギリ。
Yeah, just barely.
Soujirouu called out in response, recalling just how narrowly he had avoided his head being severed cleanly from his body.
って前、うわ、なんだあれ。焼きたてか。
In front of us. What the heck are those? Are they freshly baked?
そうみたいね。要するに下級兵士よ。
It looks like it. In other words, they're the cannon fodder. Aoko halted her sprint and set her crest and foot to full
距
operation.
離7、6、5メートル。あの程度ならスナップだけで事足りる。
Range 7, 6, 5 yards. At this distance, Snap will take them down. I wonder why they're using American measurements. Huh. Sliding along the brick path, she brandished her right arm. She loosed a shower of magic bullets. Snap was a single action spell that favored rate of fire over power, and it mowed down the monsters with satisfying pops. Is it a cantrip? I wonder.
青崎そっちも。
Alzaki, more over there!
了解。
Roger that! Damn, I guess she had more bullets than she thought. Blue explosions bloomed along the lamplit promenade. Aoko's curtain of fire fanned out. It was a marvelous Starmine fireworks show. Toy bread men turned to charcoal.
いける。数でこそ押されてるけど、この状態が続くなら逃げ切れる。
We can do this. They've got us overpowered in numbers, but at this rate we'll be able to get out of here.
しずきくん、そっちは。
Suzuki, how's it looking over there?
いない、空いてる。ここからなら入り口の東側に出られるはずだ。
Looks clear to me. We should be able to approach the exit from the east.
With a magical barrage that would lead an average spellcaster blue in the face, the novice mage broke through the siege. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Seriously. She had a lot more magic than she thought, I guess. Meanwhile, the bluebird of happiness. Oh, I'm guessing this is like the true enemy here? Or at least the true enemy is using this bird. A single bird keenly watched everything unfold. Chirp, 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 chirp. Oh no, it's Alice's bird, it looks like. The moment the bluebird descended into Master's field of vision and made its high-pitched call, the girl listened expressionlessly to their report.
構わないわ。予想通りよ。
No matter. Everything is going as expected.
撃つこと、壊すことしか脳がなくても、青子の魔力の使い方は波じゃないから。急増の使い魔じゃ、まだ相手にはならないでしょう。
Even if she only knows how to shoot and destroy, the way Aoko uses magical energy is extraordinary. Hastily formed familiars are no match for her. The robin flapped its wings as it tweeted in response. Perhaps it was criticizing Alice for complimenting Aoko. Or perhaps it was jealous of Aoko for being praised by Alice. Alice could barely make sense of its chirping rant. Aoko Ozaki was a novice mage. Until just 2 years ago, she had grown up with no background in magecraft. Compared to Alice, who was raised as a witch from birth, Aoko possessed far less talent and experience. There was simply no comparison to be made. In a contest of skills in magecraft, 10 times out of 10, Alice would be declared the victor. However, that narrative changed when it came to a battle for life or death. Alice Kwanji was not the type of mage suited to combat, while Aoko Ozaki, on the other hand, was built for it. In a contest that pitted magical energy against magical energy, even Alice would concede that Aoko had the upper hand. Aoko's manipulation of magical energy was extraordinary. The scale of her magic circuits was smaller than that of Alice, but their rotational speed, durability, and output quality, not to mention efficiency, were otherworldly. That was Aoko Ozaki's hallmark. Yeah, shonen protagonist. Damn. Though she had many failings when handling sophisticated formulae. In just 2 years of practice, Aoko had surpassed Alice in simple formulae that merely required an energy input. Reminds me of Gone. Hunter x Hunter. She also had a genius's instincts and adaptability. Though Aoko was not particularly proficient at executing magecraft, she was terrifyingly fast. If she had been born outside the Aozaki clan, she would have doubtless risen to fame as a competitive sharpshooter.
でも、残念ね。
What a pity. In a straight shootout, Alice did not stand a chance. Alice Kwanji had never bothered to learn primitive magecraft like magic bullets in the first place. She was a classic puppeteer. Her familiar served as her arms and legs to carry out all the particulars of a battle.
制限時間には気づいているわよね、青子。
Clock's ticking, Aoko.
魔力はいくらでも貸してあげるけど、あなたの魔弾はあと半時で値崩れするわ。
I'm happy to lend you all the ammunition you like, but after an hour, those bullets will be worthless. Chirping as if in agreement, the robin took flight. It had been nearly 10 minutes since Alice had made the amusement park into her dominion. To what would the green fog give birth next? Aoko and Soujirouu, still running about, would soon come to understand the gravity of their situation. Suzuki, is this the way out?
ああ、その店を曲がれば出口だ。
Yeah, the exit is just around that store.
Running nonstop at full speed have them at their limits. Their breath ragged, the two rounded a corner at a breakneck pace. Amusement park though it was, this was still the infamous Kitsy Land. It would have taken a high school student 20 minutes to sprint the entire circumference of the park. And though they were now intimately familiar with the park's geography, it was changing beyond recognition. The transformation was not limited to the park's residents either.
青崎
Alzaki?
何を
What?
言いたくないんだけどこの遊園地広くなってないか
I hate to ask, but is it just me? Or is the park getting bigger?
It was. Damn. Their problem wasn't as mundane as mistaking the location of the exits, nor the strange terrain. No, the park was warping and twisting in upon itself. Even as they ran, its structure was expanding and growing, like that of a living creature. Soon, the pair noticed that the mob encircling them had grown even stronger. And trusting her back to Soujirouu, Aoko summoned all of her effort just to keep from whining. No one will blame Soujirouu for cowering in shock. But for Aoko to do the same, she bore responsibility for causing and them dragging him into this mess. She could not afford to succumb to panic.
大丈夫落ち着け私
Pull yourself together, Aoko!
遊園地の果てはある遠いけど鉄柵はちゃんと見える
The park has to end somewhere. It may be far, but the fence is right there.
フラットスナークだって制限なしってわけじゃない外に逃げるって選択は正しいはず
Even flat snark has limits. Getting to the exit is the right choice, I think.
現状外までは目算で1キロぐらいだけど
But from here, it looks the better part of a mile away. Up until now, they had been too concerned with simply running. Their breathing had become labored. If they had to run another mile without rest, they'd end up collapsing along the way.
青崎体大丈夫か
Alzaki? How are you holding up? Physically, I mean.
What? The whisper from behind pulled Aoko back to reality.
大丈夫だけどちょっと一息入れたいわね
I'm fine, but I need to catch my breath.
賛成ここから休みなしで外周まで走るのはやめた方がいい
Good idea. We'll never make it outside if we don't rest.
驚いたしずきくんも外まで走ろう派とは
You know, I never would have thought you'd be okay with making a run for it. She let slip a giggle. Far from debilitated by panic, her comrade in arms had been analyzing the situation and forming an escape plan.
ちょっとだけ建物に逃げ込むのは
Why don't we hole up in one of those buildings for a while?
気は進まないけどそれしかないわね
I don't like it, but it's our best option right now. The breadmen had them completely surrounded. Perhaps this might have been a problem for an average person, but for Aoko, breaking through their formation to get to the building would be a cinch. The issue was
問題はどんな店を選ぶかってこと
which store to pick. She considered the characteristics of the transforming park. What was a danger and what was safe? The most important factor was not the strength or complexity of the building.
そうだ選ぶならあの単純さで正しいはず
Keep it simple, stupid.
しずきくんあっち
Maybe the bathroom? Suzuki, this way! After routing the monsters, Aoko hopped behind the counter, soon followed by Soujirouu.
カウンターに隠れてて
Get behind the counter! Uh-oh. Like she was in a western shootout, Aoko squared off against the monsters using the counter as cover. Damn. Look at his face.
ビンゴここならスナーク化しないんだ
Bingo. Nothing here can get snarkified. After assessing the current state of the enemy, Aoko sat down under the counter.
あいつらは
Hello, Hello Mirage, welcome to the stream.
What are they doing?
店の周りで地団打踏んでるわ。理由があってね。あいつらはここには入ってこられないのよ。
What kind of place is this? Huh. They're stamping their feet in frustration because they're angry that they can't get in.
Huh?
It looks like an ordinary, like, little, restaurant-ish thing to me. Like a cafe. Aoko gave the perplexed Soujirouu a grin and took a moment to catch her breath. She heaved a heavy sigh of relief and fatigue.
とりあえずコーヒーブレイクね。ここは遊園地の中でも遊びのない場所だから、あいつらにとっては鬼門なのよ。
We'll take 5 here. This restaurant is the blandest place in the park, which makes it their Achilles heel.
レジスターも調理器具も最近のものだし、擬人化されたマスコットもないし、スナーク化するにはちょい文明犬すぎるってこと。
I see. The registers and utensils are all modern, and there are no mascot characters. It's just a bit too civilized for Snark to mess with.
スナーク
Snark?
あいつらの名前よ。つけたのは私じゃなくてアリスなのかしらね。あの子の性格的にちょっと想像できないけど、まあとにかくそういう名前。
That's their name. Though Alice is the one who came up with it. I think. It doesn't really sound like her, but whatever. That's what they're called. Perhaps now at ease from knowing they were safe, Soujirouu seemed enthralled at her explanation. Aoko could not help but chuckle as Soujirouu nodded sagely. It was certain that he had no idea what she was talking about. Normally, this would have irritated her. But this time, she was grateful for the warmth of his strange sobriety.
それはともかく調子良さそうだな、青崎。
It's good that you seem better, Aozaki.
Mistaking her smile for composure, Soujirouu broke into a smile himself. It was just another link in a chain of misunderstandings, but there was no need to address it.
あれ？あなたから見てもわかる？私のマダンの威力が上がっているの。
Yeah, what's up with that? Seriously. Is it a side effect of like everything being all whimsical? That she has infinite magic? Oh, you can tell. Yeah, my magic bullets are getting more powerful.
そりゃミラーハウスで散々追いかけ回されたからな。あの時と同じ動作なのに物騒さが増していれば嫌でもわかる。
Well, he did chase me all around that house of mirrors while firing those things at me. So, I guess I've become really familiar with them. For better or worse.
でもいいのか？確か数に限りがあるとか言ってただろう。もう随分撃っちまった。
Okay, yeah, I was wondering about...
20-30じゃ効かないぞ。
I was wondering about that.
Are you sure you're okay, though? I remember you mentioning that you had a limited number of shots. But you fired at least 20 or 30 so far, right?
あんた、時々あれよね。
You know, every now and then you...
Huh?
Her opinion of him improved. Just a little bit.
なんでもない。
Never mind.
私のマダンの威力が上がっているのは単純に魔力の濃度の問題。さっきから霧がかかってるでしょ？
I see.
全部魔力なのよ。弾を撃つための燃料と思って。
Oh my god, is it this freaking, law of conservation of ninjutsu thing? My bullets increase in power. It's a simple matter of the density of their magical energy. You've seen that fog around the park from a bit ago, right? It's all just magical energy. Think of it as fuel for my bullets. Magical energy was divided into 2 broad categories. First was odd, produced inside a mage's body. Second was mana, which filled the atmosphere. At the moment, the amusement park had turned into a fairy tale land overflowing with mana. Although it meant nothing to the average person, to a mage it was a paradise where spells could be cast as much as one pleased.
じゃあ残り魔力とやらは気にしなくていいのか。
So that means you don't have to worry about how much magic whatever you have left then.
注意すべきは怪我と体力だけ。
All we need to worry about are injuries and stamina?
まあ個人的な責任においてはその限りね。
Well, as far as our own lives are concerned, yeah. Soujirouu breathed a sigh of relief. From Soujirou's perspective, more so than the monsters she mowed down, Aoko was the biggest bully on the playground. He had been concerned about her, what would happen should her magical energy be exhausted. But luckily for him, she was far from surrendering her crown.
頼りにしてくれるのは嬉しいけど、ぬか喜びよ。
It's nice that you trust me and all, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
あんな雑魚たち、ただ動いているだけのガラクタなんだから。
Those minions out there are just walking garbage.
スナーク本体は当然として、アリスが他の童話の怪物を出してきたら、私じゃどうにもならない。
If Alice summons any other fairy tale monsters, let alone the actual Snark making an appearance, there's nothing I'll be able to do.
他の童話の怪物。遊園地をこんな風に変えたやつ以外にまだいるのか？
Other fairy tale monsters? You mean that there are others apart from the thing that changed the park?
そう。プロイキッシャーって名付けられた、私たちでさえ目を背けたくなる反則。
Yes, they're called ploy kickshaws, aberrations that even we mages can't stand to look at.
不可能な夢物語をも再現する時代に取り残されたデタラメよ。
They're nonsense lost to time, used to revive impossible fantasies. Oh my god, he is just trying to catch up real quickly on this. Soujirou's expression seemed to be calling out her out on the hypocrisy.
あのね、私たちはちゃんと現代に寄り添った魔術師よ。
Hey, most of us have modern standards, you know.
できないこともあるし、当たり前のことだけど、近代兵器にはかなわない。20世紀、まあ、いろんな戦争の後押しで、兵器の進化は私たちを超えちゃったから。
Obviously, there are things we can't do. And we're no match for modern weapons. The 20th century, well, a bunch of wars helped weapon technology catch up to us.
けど、あの子のは違う。どんなに人間の技術が進歩しようと関係ないって怪物なの。
But that girl is a different beast altogether. Mankind's evolution can't hold a flame to her power.
例えば、あのブレッドマンいるでしょ。
Take those breadmen, for instance.
あいつには自動拳銃とか効かないわよ。多分、意味が分かっていないから。
Something like a machine gun would have no effect on them. Probably because guns make no sense to them. Aoko casually gestured outside past the counter.
アリスの使い魔は、全てが空想によってこねられた神秘なの。
Alice's familiars are mystics needed from fantasies.
前提からしてありえないことだから、通常の物理法則と折り合いが悪い。空想と現実は両立しないっていう、ごく当たり前の理由でね。
They're all impossible in the first place, so they don't play nice with the laws of physics. That shouldn't come as a surprise since fantasy and reality can't exist together.
なるほど。ブレッドマンってのはあの動く焼きたてパンのことなんだな。
I see. So they're literally walking loaves of bread.
Soujirouu seemed to have ignored the majority of Aoko's explanation and only reacted to the part that caught his curiosity. Ah, I bet he's making that freaking no thoughts head empty face.
話を戻すけど、
To get back on topic.
あいつらと近代兵器の相性は最悪。ロケット弾でも効果はないわ。意思の疎通、秩序の共有ができてないから。
Modern arms don't stand a chance against those things. Even rockets would be useless. They aren't part of the same order or shared consciousness as us.
プロイキッシャーにとって彼らの世界には存在しないもの、意味がわからないものは触れることなく無産する。
To the ploy kickshaws, to the fairy tale monsters, anything that doesn't exist in their world, anything they don't understand, disintegrates before it can even touch them.
彼らに通じるのは 同じ神秘を帯びた魔力だけっていうデタラメぶりよ。もう完全に概念空間っていうか概念宇宙っていうか。
Jeez. Only something equally nonsense can touch them, like magical energy infused with the same level of mystics. They exist wholly in their own conceptual space or cosmos. My god, like, I'm just kind of, like, in my head as I'm reading these things, I'm comparing it to Umineko, and it's like, it's so similar yet so different. It feels very nostalgic.
要するにあいつらは伝承防御っていう特別なルールを持っていて、単純に強い力、強い魔術じゃ効果は薄いの。
It feels
元に
like
なった童話にちなんだ欠点をつかないと倒せない。
it feels like they're absolutely two different things, but almost cut from the same cloth. If you get my meaning, like using a similar skeleton of magical a magical theory. Where magic and reality are defined as two separate things that clash with each other in different ways. And actually our magic is at war with reality in some ways, and by combining those two in certain ways you get different effects. Hello, Dr. Philly Joel, welcome to the stream. In short, they're protected by a special rule known as folklore defense, meaning that neither pure force nor strong magecraft have much effect. They can't be taken down without exploiting the weakness found in their original stories. Oh my god! Oh, this is Bohemian Rhapsody from JoJo!
ギリシャ神話のアキレスあたり分かりやすい例えなんだけど、知ってる？
Are you familiar with the Greek myth of Achilles? It's a good, straightforward example. Soujirouu shook his head.
そう。無事帰れたら飛び丸あたりに教えてもらって。定番だけどいい話よ、あれ。
Of course you aren't. If we get out of this alive, have Tobimaru tell you about it. It's a cliche, but it's a good story. Well, that's super cool, Dustplate. Soujirouu was feeling pretty lost, but he did his best to grasp the situation. He thought that the ploy kickshaws were scary enough to chase Aoko and that puppet from before out of the house barefoot. Certainly the scene before them was the stuff of nightmares. But Soujirouu had a different way of thinking.
やっぱり青崎の方が怖くないか？
I think you're more scared than me, Aozaki.
あんた死ぬの？
Do you want to die? Oh my god. That's a very mocky line. I wonder if Kadaka was inspired by this scene right here. Soujirouu waved in protest, silently pointing out that she had made his case for him.
あのね、今私たちを取り囲んでるのはおまけに過ぎないの。
Listen to me. The things surrounding us now are little more than fodder.
アリスにとってあのブレッドマンもロブスターもソーセージ屋のミンチマシーンも全部が全部私が打ってるマダンより価値がない。
As far as Alice is concerned, the breadman, the lobster, the meat mincer, and the sausage place, they're all worth even less than my magic bullets are to me.
いい？あの動くマスコットたちはね、ただのおまけなの。アリスが解放した童話の怪物の一呼吸みたいなものなのよ。
Got it. The moving mascots and all the rest are a sideshow. They're nothing more than the breath of the monster she unleashed.
呼吸ってこれが？
These things are just the breath?
私だって考えたくないわよ。
Yeah, crazy. I know.
でもそれが現状。たった一体の童話の怪物だけで私たちは手一杯。
But that's what we're dealing with right now. Just one of those fairy tale monsters is enough to keep us busy.
そういうわけだから アリスがあと1体でも追加したら諦めて。
So if Alice decides to add another, we might as well give up.
追加ってこれに制限はないのか？
Add another. Isn't there some sort of limit?
あの子が出し惜しみしなければまだ何体かストックはあるでしょうけど、まあ成立する条件はあるわね。
If she decides not to be stingy, she has a few more of her sleeve. Though, well, there are conditions to bringing them out.
例えば川がないと目を覚まさない怪物もいる。この遊園地噴水はあるけど川はないでしょ。元になった童話縛りなの、あの子の使い魔は。
Like one monster that won't wake up if there's no river nearby. The park is fountain shore but no river, right? Her familiars are bound by their underlying stories.
童話ってかけそばとか？
By fairy tale. You mean like the one about a bowl of soba noodles?
ここに川がないのは不幸中の幸いね。もしあったらもっと直接制圧に向いたやつが出てきてた。
Let me tell you, it's a small mercy that there's no river here. Otherwise, something way better at squishing us would have appeared by now. Aoko continued, completely ignoring Soujirouu.
話の続きだけど、
Anyway, as I was saying,
アリスの魔術の基本はマザーグースって知らないか。イギリスの歌で遊び心に富んだメルヘンチックな内容よ。
the foundation of Alice's magecraft is Mother Goose. Right, you wouldn't know that either. Mother Goose was an author of whimsical English nursery rhymes.
ただそっち系のプロイキッシャーは怖くないの。
To be honest, this type of ploy kickshaw isn't all that scary.
みんなそれなりになんとか魔術にも落とし込める範囲だから。
Taking them down with some form of magecraft is totally possible.
聞きたくないんだけど、そっち系じゃないのは？
I'm afraid to ask. But what about the scary kind then?
マザーグースを下地にしたとある創作童話系。
They follow another fairy tale inspired by Mother Goose.
あの子のお母さんが好きでね。こっち系のはどいつもこいつも尋常じゃない。私たちから見ても勘弁してって言いたくなるわ。
Alice's mother was particularly fond of it, and every single one is bizarre. No mage wants to go up against one of those things.
で、この遊園地を生き返らせたのはこっち系よ。
As it happens, that's exactly what brought the park back to life.
多分フラットスナークってやつだと思う。私も聞き流していたから詳しくはわからないけど。
I'm pretty sure it's the one she calls Flat Snark, though I wasn't particularly paying attention, so I'm a little lazy on the details. Soujirouu swallowed the discomfort making its way up his throat. He really wanted to explain things a little less vaguely, but something she had just said necessitated further investigation.
待て青崎、あの子の話を聞き流したってなんで？
Wait a second, Ozaki. You mean to tell me you weren't paying attention?
いや、説明してもらったのは随分と前だし、あの頃はアリスの話あんまり信じられなかったのよね。
Well, you know, it was a while back that she explained it all to me, and I really didn't believe anything she had to say around that.
私が素人だと思って大げさに自分の魔術を語ってくれてるな、舐められてるなとか。
I thought that maybe she was talking of her own magecraft to a newbie, or that she wasn't taking me seriously. In truth, if anyone hadn't taken the lesson seriously, it was Aoko. She would learn the lesson firsthand soon enough when she experienced just how real Alice's monsters were. She'd also discover how heretical the monster witches truly were in the world of magecraft.
その聞き流した内容は？
Can you remember anything else about them?
何でも強力な結界を張るプロイだって。
From what I understand, it's a ploy that puts up powerful bounded field.
アリスが受け継いだプロイは山ほどあるけど、その中でもえりすぐりの一つよ。
Alice inherited a lot of ploys, but this one is her finest.
捨てられたもの、忘れられたものを童話的に蘇らせるやつで、今まで誰も破ったことがないとか。
It takes discarded and forgotten things and resurrects them like what happens in fairy tales. Supposedly nobody's ever defeated it.
それでついたあだ名が触れられぬもの。
Oh, and its nickname is the Untouchable.
フラットスナークじゃないのか？
So it's not Flat Snark or whatever it was?
それもあだ名。とにかく正体がわからないやつばっかりなんで、一つの個体に複数の名前が付けられるの。
That's just a nickname too. Since nobody knows what its real form is, it picked up a few names along the way.
フラットスナークはその中でも正体不明さはトップランクのデタラメぶりよ。
So they're supposed to sound like nonsense. I see. One of them is Flat Snark, and it ranks high among her other nonsense in terms of how little is known about it.
あなた、ルイス・キャロルのスナーク狩りって本知ってる？
Have you ever heard of the book The Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll?
いや、そもそもルイス・キャロルというのは
No, and who is Luis Terrell?
そっからか。ドジスン教授はそうね、特殊性癖を持った妄想紳士ってとこ？まあこっちは別にどうでもいいか。人によっては時間の無駄だろうし。
Okay then, let's start from the beginning. Professor Dodson was... he was a delusional gentleman with a particular disposition. Not that it matters right now. It's a waste of time to explain to some people.
今重要なのは彼が残した著作の方。
What's important is the work he left behind.
スナーク狩りはね、スナークって呼ばれる正体不明の怪物を捕まえようと奔走する冒険家たちの話なの。
The Hunting of the Snark is a book about a band of adventurers who try to capture an unidentified monster known as the Snark.
キャロルらしい皮肉ばっちり、支離滅裂、意味不明、結末不在の本当に困った本で、一行は島で苦しみつつ最終的にはスナークを見つけるものの、見つけたベイカーは唐突に姿を消して終わってしまう。
It's very Carol. Satirical, nonsensical, and cryptic. It doesn't even really have an ending either. Though the party does ultimately find the Snark on its island after much hardship. It ends with the protagonist who found it, the baker, suddenly disappearing.
よくわからないもの探しに奔走する人間の風刺なんだけど、この遊園地において誰がベイカーで何がスナークかは言うまでもないでしょ。
It's a satire about people who run around busily trying to find something they don't understand. But when it comes to the park here, it's pretty clear who the baker is and who the Snark is, right? Damn, so it's one of those things that, like, it ends with the frickin' monster having no weakness. Jeez. Aoko elected not to share this, but Flat Snark has other popular names as well. The Enigmatic Island, the Five-Dimensional Plane. These names were not given to it by Alice, but rather muttered by mages who the monsters defeated. In mathematics, snark is a term used in graph theory to refer to contradictory and impossible planar graphs. A plane. Damn it, now we're really getting into fucking... Holy shit. What the hell? A plane proven to be unable to exist in this world was given the name. Apt for an ill-fated existence, paradoxical in nature. The fairy tale monster ascribed this name was said to hold no form discoverable by man. So it's like an eldritch existence. Aoko also declined to mention something else. Flat Snark was a fairy tale monster that could grow. It would hide somewhere in the amusement park, continue exhaling magical energy until the park completely transformed into a fantasy land.
脅かしてもしょうがないし。
Well, it's not like there's any point in scaring him.
何か言ったか？
Did you say something, Ozaki?
別に。簡単に言って、童話世界の再生がフラットスナークの力なの。
Nope. I was just thinking. Flat Snark's power is its ability to bring fairy tale worlds to life.
この遊園地との相性は抜群でしょうね。何しろ元々が童話を元にした遊び場だから。
When you think about it, the park makes for the perfect backdrop. I mean, it was originally a playground based on fairy tales anyway. If this had been a business district, for example, blast arc would have posed far less of a threat. At most, its power would be limited to projecting the shadow of a dinosaur onto a building's window panes.
あ、だからここは安全だって。
So that's why it's safe. Huh?
Soujirouu realized something was wrong when he noticed a glutinous liquid dropping onto his back. Ah, shit! He looked up to the ceiling. Their eyes met. Before he had a chance to think, Soujirouu hopped up from the floor.
青崎外だ!
Ozaki, get out now!
Taking the initiative, he jumped out from behind the counter.
バカ、何して!
Are you mad? Where do you think you're... Trying to stop him from committing an act of suicide, she also came to her feet. Immediately, she noticed something coming to life overhead.
やば!
What the... Oh, crap! What the hell is that?
危なかった.
Oh my god, that was close! The gargantuan mouth clamped shut. With no mascot to speak of, the burger joint itself began to transform into one giant monster.
もう、なんで天井にピエロの絵なんて描いてんのよ、あの店.
Who the hell paints a giant clone of the ceiling?
普通もっと違うところに労力割かない? そんなにピエロが好きなら入り口にでも飾っとけ.
They flex their creative muscles somewhere else. They like clowns that much when they put in the entrance. Who likes clowns anyway? They're just scary. Aoko aired out her grievances as she ran. There was no safe haven left. Moment by moment, the last remnants of civilization were being eroded away by fairy tales. Hello, Saw. Welcome to the stream. Oh shit. The amusement park had reached the final stage of snarkification. It was not just the mascot characters that had been granted life, like the burger joint. Even the buildings had begun to transform. The roller coaster that made its way about the park writhed and twisted like a Chinese dragon. Aoko and Soujirouu stared, dumbfounded by the Ferris wheel, which had grown to over 250 feet in height. Hordes of breadmen closed in on them, as if to offer tickets.
この列整理は間に合ってるっての.
I'm telling you, the line is under control! Mods of trinkets, actual kickshaws rampaged the park. Whenever a hole was punched in the envelopment, it was instantly filled. It was a battle of attrition with no end in sight. But that was a matter of course, as there were few fairy tales about limited resources.
なんかどうしようもないぞ。こいつら増える一方だ。
This is hopeless. They just keep coming.
スナーク本体を探して.
Look for the Snark's real form!
童話の怪物には本体に当たる器物があるの。それさえ壊せば遊園地から出られるはず.
A fairy tale monster always some vessel for its body. If we can just destroy that, we should be able to get out of here.
本体ってどんな?
A body? What kind of body?
さっき言ったでしょ。童話の怪物は現実にないものだって。今までいなかったおかしなやつとか、現実じゃありえないもの、それが本体.
I already told you. Fairy tale monsters can't exist in reality. Anything weird or impossible you've never seen before, that's gonna be it!
おかしなやつって例えば?
Something weird or impossible? I need an example!
だから!
Do I have to spell it out for you?
命のある人形とか、空飛ぶゴーカートとか.
But that's like everything. Living puppets, flying go-karts! Aoko paused her firing for a moment. After saying this out loud, she realized just how deep their grave was dug. The amusement park was a treasure trove of fairy tale-esque creatures on any given day. Who could say what was impossible amidst the newly transfigured knickknacks running around?
そっか。おかしくないやつなんて一つもないんだ.
Damn. Everything in here is weird. I think it's something subtle. Hello, Oddjars, open stream. I think then it would be something that's subtle. Something that you wouldn't realize is impossible. So it's hiding in plain sight. At least at first glance. Hoping that she was wrong, Aoko bit her bottom lip. Flat snark was the type of ploy that deployed bounded fields. Seeing it was commanding so many familiars, it would not be unusual for its main body to have little or even no defenses. I think it's the bird. The bird was a robin, right? But it was blue. Aren't robins supposed to be red? Is a blue robin even possible to exist? I wonder. Furthermore, if it was modeled from a story about being untouchable and unidentifiable, it'd be logic to assume that it would collapse in on itself shortly after being discovered. Which means, we find it, we win. Would something so fragile really hide amongst its minions? They do say that the best place to hide a leaf is in the woods. It wouldn't be something attacking. This was closer to the truth than Aoko realized. As long as there was the slightest possibility of being hit by one of Aoko's stray bullets, it would not dare appear in front of them. Its true form was orchestrating the park from somewhere safe. I'm sure we've seen it already. It's the subject of a book named after it. If it's not standing on every page, it has no right to be the title character. But where? Put very simply, the Ferris wheel was the safest location in the park, as well as a symbol of its past glory. Perhaps, yeah, that was my second guess, the Ferris wheel.
What if we just try to catch her instead?
Her eyes opened wide at the sudden suggestion. While Aoko had been trying to come up with a plan to overcome this stalemate, it seemed Soujirouu had been racking his brain as well. His proposal was a simple one. If they could not find the snark, they just needed to take out its master, Alice. Alice had not moved at all from the clock tower. Even from here, they could make out her figure draped in moonlight. That's the worst move we can make! Oh shit, really? That sucks. So it's the opposite of what you would think. Jeez. Even if we killed her, it wouldn't stop the snark, and all this absurdity would just boil over to the outside the park! Not to mention I can't even kill her in the first place! At best I could only get halfway there! A breadman, angered at the insults heard toward his master, moved to attack and was mercilessly burned to a crisp. The two stood back to back, catching their breath. With no plan to speak of and no route of escape, they had reached rock bottom. Meanwhile, the oddities were forming a circle around their prey, as if they smelled blood in the water. Were they to be dragged into a bakery for the oven, minced in the meat grinder as the butcher shop, skewered and paraded around the top of the carousel, walk the plank on the thorny pirate ship? After 2 years of slumber, they're eager to welcome their new guests.
There is something I need to ask you, Azaki.
What is it? Keep it snappy, I'm thinking here.
Okay. It's painfully clear what these things want to do to us. But what about her? Does she enjoy this?
I doubt it.
基本的にまともなやついないから、アリスの使い魔って。
These things' hatred of humans comes from a deep-seated grudge within the park itself, and maybe even Flatsnark's personality too. Alice's familiars are one big family of freaks.
あ、でも。
Though now that you mention it, Aoko was unable to deny that there were some similarities.
それは結構。それで青崎の考え事って止める方法考えついたのか？
Good to know. So, did you come up with anything, Aozaki? How do we stop them?
期待させて悪いけどお手上げ。ま、あんたが殺されれば止まるでしょうけど。
Sorry to get your hopes up, but I'm all out of ideas. Oh, but I bet they'd stop if you dropped dead.
それは嫌だ。とりあえず逃げよう。
No, thank you. Let's just get out of here.
え、しずきくん？
Hey, wait, Suki! She blinked in surprise at the sudden turn of events. Soujirouu, who had until now been meekly following her lead, had grabbed Aoko's hand and pulled her with her him into a head-on charge at the swarm of red in an attempt to break out of the encirclement. Damn.
意味わかんなすぎ。
Are you out of your mind?
なんで今の流れでそうなるのよ、あんたは。
How on earth do you figure out this is what we do next? Aoko nonetheless follows Soujirouu's uncharacteristically gung-ho lead, cursing him all the while. Alone, he had no chance of breaking through the surrounding wall of enemies with brute force. Aoko regained her bearings and let fly a spray of magic bullets ahead of Soujirouu. They burst through the net and ran as hard as they could. At this point, all that was left to do was what they had planned from the outset: get out of the park. But not before addressing what needed to be addressed.
なんでよ、さっきはあんなに諦めよかったのに。
Where the hell did that come from? Haven't you already given up back at the House of Mirrors? Aoko could not begin to comprehend Soujirouu's reaction.
ミラーハウスの時と今は違うだろう。いいから走れ。
That was then and this is now. Just run!
違わないわよ。あんたを殺そうとした私も、あんたを殺したいアリスも、理由の結果も同じよ、私たち。
What are you talking about? Alice wants to kill you for exactly the same reasons I did. This won't play out any differently. I was thinking the same thing, Doris.
That's that and this is this.
Though she wondered what was getting her so worked up, Aoko did not stop. She told herself that the degree of Soujirouu's stupidity, charging the red men so recklessly, had caused her to lose her cool.
あのね、一緒に逃げてるぐらいで勘違いしないでくれる？言っとくけど私、明日になったらまたあんたを殺しに行くから。死にたくないってんなら、ここで私からも逃げ出したら？
Hey, don't get the wrong idea. I'm trying to kill you. I'm gonna try and kill you again tomorrow too, Baka. I'll really do it. So if you don't want to die, she'll be trying to escape me too. Got it?
それはまた今度の話だろう。だいたい青崎に殺されるのならいいけど、あの子に殺されるのは嫌だ。
Wow. That's really what the hell?
Let's talk about that tomorrow. I don't really care if you kill me. I just don't want to be killed by that girl.
だからなんで？
Like I said, why the hell not? You got some kind of fetish or something?
だって顔も知らない。話したことさえない相手だ。
I don't even know what she looks like, nor have I ever spoken to her.
What? It was like someone had doused water over her blazing fury. Aoko's anger was snuffed out by the absurd simplicity of his reasoning.
顔も知らないって。
Because you don't know what she looks like? Could it be that Soujirouu did not mind being killed by someone as long as he had met them? Aoko grimaced as she followed him. From her spot atop the clock tower, the girl observed the growth of her familiar, Flatsnark, a savior of the discarded. It was a vile, vulgar fairy tale monster who provided those abandoned by fate, with a glimmer of hope before snatching it away. Alice had it under control, but she was still keen to keep Snark from expressing its bad habits. After completing a lap around the park that had now reached the size of an entire town, the Robin made a situation report.
そう。外を目指しているの。
So, they're trying to get out. It seems Aoko was prioritizing the safety of the boy. Even if it resulted in wasting an entire day, choosing not to capitulate on a decision was very much like her.
青子のことだから、時計台ごと私を焼き払いに来るかと思ったけど。
That's too bad. I was so sure Aoko would attempt to burn down the clock tower, and me with it. The bluebird cheeped in response. Was it denying its master's portrait of Aoko? Or agreeing that it was Aoko's style to do exactly that? An outsider might interpret its injections either way.
退屈？
Does this bore you? The robin jumped at being addressed so unexpectedly. It chirped and flapped its wings like a flustered servant, frantic to say otherwise.
珍しく気があったわね。
It's rare for us to get along so well.
いいわ。せっかくのゲームだし、もう少しだけ盛り上げましょう。
Okay then. If it's a game she wants, a game she'll get. Let's liven things up a bit, shall we? Calmly, she pulled out a small object from her pocket. It was a dark gray Easter egg, and emanating from it inside was the ticking of a clock. The robin knew it to be a ploy kickshaw with a bad attitude far exceeding flat snarks, known to being among the best in one-on-one situations. Oh wow! What that?
称える時間は20分に設定したわ。
Go. I've set the extolling time for 20 minutes.
いつも通り、控えめに壊れてきて。
Break. In that subtle way of yours. And together with the witch's breath, the egg filled with praise disappeared. Suddenly, a strong wind swept through the park. The words, "I could have killed them all by myself," floated through the air. It was the disappointment of something enormous that was visible to all, yet overlooked. Aoko and Soujirouu continued their dash toward the boundary, separating the park from outside. The curio horde that stood in their way had reduced in number. The iron fence that separated the two from the outside was just over 300 yards away. Fortunately, there were no particularly large buildings barring their path. If the Ferris wheel had stood in their way, that would have spelled the end, but thankfully it had yet to reach its full strength. The only things that appeared before them were weak oddities that could easily be handled by Aoko's simple magecraft.
これならなんとか。
At this rate, we just might... She would have said make it to the fence, if only her lungs would allow it. Since Aoko was utilizing the ample mana filling the park, her tank of magical energy was nearly full. Moreover, the conditions of her body's circuits were steadily improving, to the extent that she would be able to unleash at least one all-out onslaught. Damn, so she's like getting training out of this. Uh-oh. Until... Is that Humpty Dumpty, I'm guessing? Something unusual was hovering above her field of vision. It was locked on Soujirouu, hovering 10 feet above him over to one side.
しずきくん、ちょっと。
Suzuki, look!
ああ、さっきからついてきてる。
What? That thing? It's been on us for a while.
Soujirouu had seemingly noticed before Aoko. Hence his previous awkward glances. toward the sky. Something's going on with the coffee machine. Hold on a second. Yes, Flat Snark animated the coffee machine. I had no idea what's going on. I just shut off the power to it. I don't know what the fuck was up with that. Soujirouu had seemingly noticed before Aoko, hence his previous awkward glances toward the sky. In truth, it would have been far stranger for him not to notice, as the thing was practically glued to him. What is that? More glass? Queen something. Grass moon grass Queen Alice. In terms of its size, the floating object measured about 3 feet in diameter. Tiles covered its exterior, about which a multitude of spinning lights danced about.
卵かな。
Is that an egg?
Soujirouu asked, not really sure what to call it.
卵って言ったら割れる卵。
An egg? If it's an egg, that means it'll crack! Her bullets bounced off it like it was made of rubber. That trait, the ability to deflect all outside interference, confirmed to Aoko that the thing was undoubtedly a ploy kickshaw.
やっぱり外からのルールじゃ壊れないか。
Knew it. I can't break its rules from the outside.
しずきくん、あれから絶対に目をそらさないで。
Suzuki, don't take your eyes off it for even a second.
いい。何があっても見続けること。視界の隅に入れとくだけでいいから。
No matter what happens, keep your eyes locked on it, even if it's just in the corner of your vision.
ああ。
Okay.
Aoko picked up her pace as she barked orders. The Eggman who sat on the wall. He would crack just as the tale spoke of. Yep, Humpty Dumpty. I was actually right. Nothing anyone could do or say would cause him to fall. But the moment they stopped looking, he would tumble down and break into pieces.
いわく、王様の軍隊でも元に戻せない数の破片。
All the king's horses and all the king's men could put him back together again. Or so it said. Wait, isn't it could not put him back together again? Isn't it the exact opposite? It was the Mother Goose poem, Humpty Dumpty. If Soujirouu was its target, then the moment he averted his gaze, it would tumble and explode. I think that was a translation flub. Except for the exploding part. Who knows what'll happen when it falls? Either way, it was going to scatter something troublesome when it fell. Its oval shape, the keyhole adorning the front, and writing inscribed upon it, they all made her anxious. If it was an egg, that means it was going to hatch at some point. Even if he continued to stare, once the time came for whatever was inside to come out, they would even less ability to conserve their energy.
Aozaki, 早すぎないか。
Halzaki, slow down, would you?
あまり全力で走ると。
If you use up all your energy now, you'll...
後のことは考えないで。
Forget about what comes next!
いいからしずきくんは卵だけに集中して。
Just focus on watching that egg! At this critical juncture, breadmen stepped out to join the egg and block their path.
邪魔！
Out of the way! The breadmen were marching forth in a grand battalion. At her level of firepower, Aoko should have easily mowed them down. However... Uh-oh.
片焼きかこの。
These have hard crusts. Take this! snap failed to do the job, that means it was time to put her crest to use. Draw. A formally triggered bullet encased in a full wind jacket. If her previous shots were the equivalent of a machine gun volley, then this was her artillery shot. Damn. Nice. Hey, if you have infinite ammo, why not? The hard crust bread that had absorbed her snap without a dent, scattered into thousands of tiny pieces at her jaw's torrent.
うわ
Whoa.
Of course, the destruction did not end with just the breadman. What had once been a brick road was now thoroughly stripped of its pavement. The nearby stalls had been warped into twisted steel skeletons. It was a spectacle that made Soujirouu question what the greater obstacle to their escape was. The wall of breadmen or Aoko's ability to lay waste to things.
ちょっとなんで距離取るのよそこそばにいないと危ないじゃない
Hey! Don't wander off! It's dangerous if you don't stick close to me!
ほらもっとこっち
Come on, get closer!
言っとくけどあんたがあいつらに囲まれちゃったらアウトよ私人質とか意味ないタイプだしそもそも区別して撃つとかそういうのできないし
We're out of strikes, you know. If they surround you, you're a goner. You should know hostages don't mean squat to me. And it's not like I can pick out my targets precisely anyway. Baka. Oh my god. You are the soonest of dares. Ah, jeez. This made a lot of sense to Soujirouu. He had not fully appreciated the part about hostages, but he got the gist of it.
つまり今はどこであろうと危険なのか
So basically, I'm in danger no matter where I stand.
あんたね
You. Offended though she was by his typical naive response, she could not help but be impressed. Soujirouu was a straight arrow through and through. His eyes stayed firmly focused on the egg overhead, even amidst the chaos of this melee unfolding before him.
その分なら安心か
I don't know why I worried.
物分かりは悪いけど一度言われたことはきっちり守るあたりあなたのいいところよね
You may not be the sharpest tool, but you sure are good at following orders.
そんなことより青崎俺の気のせいならいいんだけどさっきのパン硬くなかったか
One thing, Azaki. Am I imagining it, or do those breadmen seem tougher than before?
まあねあいつら少しずつ強くなってきてるわ
No, you weren't imagining that. They're getting stronger.
大量生産が軌道に乗ったんで今度はクオリティアップをテーマにしたのかも
They must have nailed down their mass production process, so they've turned their attention to upping the quality.
しずきくんでもお察しの通りここからは手強くなっていく一方よあのパンたちでさえ個体差が出てきたみたいだし
As you figured out already, they're just gonna get tougher as we go. It seems like even those bread guys have started to develop individuality.
考えたくないけどそのうちジャム塗ったりレタス乗っけたり果ては合体したりして
I did think about it, but they might start spreading themselves with jelly or wearing other fillings and merging with one another. Though she was joking, her eyes were dead serious. Soujirouu shuddered at the thought of the situation growing even more dire.
じゃあそのうちミラーハウスの人形ぐらいに怖くなるのかあいつら
So you're saying that those guys are going to be as terrifying as the puppet from the House of Mirrors soon?
間違いなくねそこまでレアなパンになったら私も自分だけで手一杯になる
Ooh,
ところでしずきくん
God,
ああいうのと喧嘩できる
goddamn pauses. Ooh, you can count on it. And all of my hands full with bread that rare. Say, Suzuki, think you can handle yourself against one of those? Soujirouu shook his head, a look of complete aversion upon his face.
でしょなら急ぎましょういろいろ余裕ないんだから
I didn't think so. So let's get moving. We can't afford to hang around here. Aoko took a quick deep breath, then began to sprint once again. Far in the distance, though, through the fog, the iron fence waited, 300 paces away. As long as nothing happened, they would make it there in one piece. Soujirouu followed after Aoko, holding on to that all too convenient hope. It's something big in the sky? Is the thing so... Is it the Ferris wheel? Or like, I don't even know. Is it like a false sun or something like that? Well, it's nighttime, so there's no sun. I don't know, is it one of the clouds? Jeez. But hope was something ever fleeting. In fact, it lasted not even 300 yards. The edge of the amusement park may well have been the edge of the world. Oh, there's the town. Oh, 50 layers of fences. Oh, no. Dozens of undulating horizons could be seen, crowding the sky like a giant cloud or a thick curtain. Oh, is it the moon? Or perhaps groaning lips. It was the end of the road. The outer limit of an outrageous and fantastical realm. And yet, Aoko found it to be much like the last page of an enormous picture book. The sight turned her mind blank. Well, this is about as bad as it gets, she thought. The Snark, this island of despair, had at last brought Aoko to her knees as she stared at the swelling border. The park indeed had an end. Even now, as Aoko and Soujirouu had expected, a fence divided the amusement park from the residential area neighboring it. It had both doubled in height and been made sturdier, another hurdle she had foreseen before even laying eyes on it. Expecting it to have been snarkified, Aoko had come prepared to demolish an obstacle or two. But this construction before her went far beyond a mere wall. It was an ocean that separated the underworld from the mortal one. The iron fence was like a restless, surging sea. One or two walls could easily be toppled. Even 10 or 20 could be dealt with one way or another. Between the power left in her body and that which filled the park, putting on a brave front was within her power. She could fully mobilize her circuits and her crest to the point of burnout in a last-ditch effort, like some reenactment of the parting of the Red Sea.
でも、それで終わり。
But then that would be it. Even if a path could be opened, she would not have the energy left to walk it. And it was obvious what would become of her afterward. The residents would hardly forgive her for wreaking such havoc around their park. Like ants drawn to honey, they would swarm the helpless girl and tear her to pieces. Despondent and exhausted, she felt the faint sting of remorse. Escaping the park, looking back on how they got here, Aoko recognized that her choices had been on her undoing. Under the golden full moon, beams of steel bent and merged like wireframe sculptures. It was only a matter of time before the amusement park itself became one colossal monster. A horde of familiars, gathered in the plaza where Alice was, had formed an impenetrable blockade around her. Just above the head of the boy beside her, the whispering egg, called Scratch Dumpty, continued to shuffle what appeared on its surface.
Aozaki!
Halzaki!
しずきくん。
Suzuki? The boy's voice snapped Aoko out of her trance. If only for a moment. The stark reality of the situation quickly dawned on the novice mage. The sheer hopelessness of it all, as it ripped out and snatched away any will she had to resist.
ゲートに行こう。ここはどうしようもないけど、入り口ならもうちょっとマシだろう。
Let's head for the gate. It's hopeless here, but we might have a chance at the entrance.
フラットスナークだっけ？ こいつにもルールがあるって言ったじゃないか。
That flat snark thing. You said it has its own set of rules to follow, right?
ならこれは役割の問題だ。初めから鉄柵は通れない壁だけど、ゲートなら出入り口として機能しているかもしれない。
Then we need to think about the basics. The fence would have been impassable from the start, but the gate might still work as an entrance and exit.
Soujirouu had not given in to panic. Aoko found herself honestly admiring Soujirou's ability to analyze Snark's characteristics, given the circumstances. Now calm, she steeled her resolve.
そうね。確かに門はあると思う。
You're right. The gate is a good option.
けど、たどり着くのは難しいわ。一番弱かった焼きたてパンですら、今はもうあれだもの。
But just getting there will be a challenge. Even the weakest enemies, those loaves, are becoming hard to deal with.
広場や入り口には、もっと上等なのがたむろしてるだろうし、門だって、あの観覧車以上の怪物かもしれない。確か、大きなキッツィちゃんだったでしょ、正門って。
Plus, the best of our familiars are just going to keep gathering at the plaza and the entrance. I mean, the gate itself might be a monster even worse than the Ferris wheel. It's designed to look like a giant kitsy.
青崎はゲートには行かないのか。
So you're not going to the front gate?
まあね。それよりこっちの方が現実的だし。
Nah, we have a better chance over here. Aoko took another glance at the undulating iron fences. It was too late to achieve their goal of making it out alive. In that case, she decided to prioritize the other promise she had made.
今からこの鉄柵を壊すから、あなたはそこから外に出て。
I'm gonna go and ahead and break down the fences here. You have to escape once you see an opening.
それで、私の役割はおしまいよ。
Then my job will be done. Oh, damn. Though her words were few, her tone told the whole story. She was telling him to escape by himself.
信じられない。
It's not possible.
こんなの青崎だけじゃ壊せないだろ。
You can't destroy them by yourself, Aozaki.
私だけならね。でも、今はこの遊園地が味方してる。燃料がこれだけあるんだから、私は重心になるだけでいいんだし。
If I
一
were
発でかいのお見舞いしてやるわ。
if I were by myself, you'd be right. But right now, the park is actually helping me. With this much fuel, all I need to do is aim and pull the trigger. One good blast should be enough.
ま、それでも一回が限度だから、穴を開けたら、あんたには全力で走り抜けてもらうしかないけど。
That said, I'll only be able to do it once. So as soon as I open a hole, I need you to run like your life depends on it. She would carve a path through this iron sea of fences, gambling on one final effort. A great incantation to launch the biggest projectile she could manage. As an outsider, Soujirouu could not even begin to imagine just how much of a burden this would be for her. All he could imagine was a hazy vision of Aoko being left behind in this park. What would happen to her? Would that girl in black come to save her? Cruel as it was to imagine, he knew she would not. After Aoko had exhausted her very best in order to save him, that girl would not stay her hand. The only way Alice would let Aoko off the hook was if Aoko killed Soujirouu as payment. And so,
20メートルぐらい離れてて。
get back about 50 feet.
準備に手間取るけど、その卵の表面が茹で上がるまでには終わらせるから。
It'll take time to cast, but I'll make sure to finish this before that egg gets hard boiled. It went without saying that this was the only path.
待ってくれ。俺を逃がすって言うけど、それに意味はあるのか、青崎。
Wait. I want to know. Is there even a point in letting me go?
ないけど、外に出られたところでアリスから逃げ切れるとは思えないし。
None. Even when you get out, there's no way you'd be able to escape Alice forever.
けどこれぐらいは最後の意地よ。
Damn.
守るって言ったんだからできるところまでやらないと。
But I'm stubborn to the very end. I said I'd protect you, so I'm damn well gonna do my best to keep you alive. Damn. Jeez. Surprised by her seemingly moral stance, Soujiro saw Aoko in a new light. Ah, but of course, Soujiro realized that she was not fighting for his sake, but for the sake of her pride.
そうだったな。
Right. I guess you did say that.
けどそれなら俺だけ逃がすのはらしくないぞ。
But it's not like you to let me go by myself.
何よ。いいから離れてて。
Oh, give me a break. Just move already! Aoko eased off. Just a bit. She recalled how, an hour ago, he had gotten the better of her.
青崎、まだ意地を張れるんなら他のことをやろう。
Alzaki, if you're still willing to fight, then let's do it some other way.
このお化けみたいな鉄柵を壊せるなら他に壊すべきものがあるはずだ。
If you can destroy that monster of a fence, then let's put your power to better use.
ないわよ。悪いけど私は目に見えるものしか壊せないの。最後まで形のない希望にすがるとか考えるのも寒気がする。
There isn't anything else I can do! Sorry, but all I can do is destroy what I can see. Dying for some forlorn hope isn't how I want to go out.
いい？今はフラットスナークなんかよりこの壁を壊してあんたを足抜けさせるのが私の現実。私に負える最大限の責任って。
Don't you get it? The fact is, blowing this thing up to let you slip out is all I can manage. I can't be Flatsnark or anything else. It's the least I can do after...
逃げるのか。
Oh, God.
So you're gonna run from this responsibility too?
Aqua was just about to turn her back on him when Soujiro clutched her hand. His words caused something inside her to boil with rage. It was as though someone had set her heart on fire. Surprise that pricked open her true feelings, and the disappointment that she felt toward herself thawed her frozen limbs.
誰が逃げるのはそっちで逃がしてあげるのはこっちだって言うのよ。甘く見ないで。いざとなったら遊園地ごと爆破してみせるわ。
Why, you... Don't get it backward! I'm the one letting you escape! Not the other way around! I'll blow the whole damn park if I feel like it. Just you watch!
そうか。ならここで俺を逃がすのは無駄だな。
Okay. In that case, it'd be a waste to help me escape right now.
その気迫は本命のために取っておこう。それまでは俺も手伝うから。
Save that move for when you really need it. I'll give you a hand until then.
は？手伝う？それこそ無駄な気遣いよ。
You help me? Talk about a waste of time!
頭きた。いいから逃げろバカ。だいたい走り詰めで息も絶え絶えなやつなんか使えないわよ。
Now you're really just pissing me off. Just get out of here, you dimwit! What do you strive for our dancing special powers running itself ragged?
そりゃいい加減ヘトヘトだけど、
I may be pretty exhausted,
そういう青崎なんか疲れ以上に傷の方が傷んでるだろ。
but you're in worse shape, Alzaki. Just look at yourself. You're tired and injured.
Not to mention the injury to her back that Aoko had nearly forgotten about. Even now, she couldn't ignore the pain that the automaton had inflicted on her spine. With iron will, she'd managed to push it out of her mind. Mostly.
ほら、
Mostly.
魔術とか抜きにすればまだ俺の方がマシじゃないか。入り口までおぶっていくことぐらいならなんとか。
Even without any of that magecraft stuff, I'm still in better shape than you are. I could probably even carry you all the way to the entrance if I needed to.
で
Damn.
きないことは口にしないで。
Don't make promises you can't keep.
もういいから言って。慣れているもの、私は。でもあなたは違う。こういうの初めてでしょ。
Just go. I'm used to this, and you're not. This is your first time facing this sort of thing, right?
だからいいの。
So it's okay. fact that they were a team. The fact that she would still have to kill him after all of this. None of the irony was lost in her as she said these words. It didn't matter anymore. Still, Soujirouu didn't let go of her hand. He gripped it even harder. Oh my god, damn. His expression was the same as ever. Aoko frowned, trying to figure out if he was upset with her.
確かにこういうのは初めてだ。
You're right. This is my first time with this sort of thing.
けど山じゃ危険な目ぐらい合ってる。鹿に襲われたことだってあるんだぞ、俺は。
But I've experienced my own fair share of danger in the mountains. I've even been attacked by a deer, you know?
Oh god. Jeez. Oh god. As a city girl, she had no idea what it meant to be attacked by a deer, but his determination was apparent enough. True. Looking back on it now, he had maintained his composure through it all. A normal person would barely be able to talk through such panic. Perhaps growing up deep in the mountains, far from civilization, had taught him how to stay calm in the face of so much.
だから信じてくれ。少しでいいから。
So trust me. Just a little.
He spoke his plain, unadulterated feelings, and released his hand. There was no lie in him. He in fact was too honest, so much that she found it hard to believe him. Soujirouu had no reason to go that far. As it stood, Aoko had no future. After confessing this and telling him to escape, why did this boy suddenly offer to help a person like her?
わからない。どうしてそこまでするの？
I don't understand. Why do all this?
私に付き合えばあなたは死ぬのよ。
You're going to die if you stay with me.
これが最後だからちゃんと考えてよね。あなたはここで逃げるべきよ。
This is it. This is your last chance. Think it through. You should be running.
それはわかるよ。でも行かない。
I know. But I'm not going anywhere.
Soujirouu answered immediately, realizing that Aoko was looking for his reason. This level of insight in Soujirouu demanded a round of applause.
そうすると青崎が死んでしまいそうだ。
If I do, you'll die, Aozaki.
His words were irrational as always.
だからどうしてそこまでするのよあんたは。
But why? Why do it? Why go so far from me? She was yelling out of frustration. After thinking for a moment, Soujirouu replied.
そりゃ君が好きだから。
Oh! Woo! Oh, wow!
I guess it's because I like you.
Damn. Simple and to the point. His face seemed to act why she would even question him so. There was a pause, no more than 2 seconds. His surprise attack had stopped Aoko in her tracks. Alice was not the only one who had her ace up her sleeve. That line reached even deeper than Flatsnark could ever hope to. All Aoko could respond with was an expression of pure shock. It was a simple, stubborn reason, the strongest kind on earth. Soujirouu Suzuki was indeed incomprehensible. To be able to work unconditionally with somebody was trying to kill him. But she felt as though she finally grasped a sliver of his true nature. Tobimaru and the others' assessment of him was correct, as vexing as it was for her to admit.
バカね。私はあなたのこと嫌いなの。
Even though I can't stand you, you sure are a dip, you know? He laughed with her sour grumbling. At this point, he was used to her insults. Their clash of wills ended here. Oh, wow! She's gonna get like a freaking confession power boost here. Aoko's blood ran hot from her blazing heart. If he was gonna make a face like that, all she could do was try to think of a way to get them both home.
私だって逃げっぱなしは性に合わないし。
Damn. I bet. Wow. Now, we know a lot of people have asked her out before, but this is probably the only one that's had any real impact on her. Running away isn't really my thing anyway.
いいわよ。最後まで粘ってみる。それにしずきくんが付き合ってくれるなら、何かの役には立つでしょ。
Fine. I'll stick it out to the end. And if you're gonna stay with me, Suzuki, I'm sure we can find some way for you to help. Though her tone had lightened, there was still hesitation in her eyes. It was only natural. Aoko had not even a clue as to how to begin to fight the snark. If only she had been just a bit more skilled, or trained just a bit more, there might have been some way to look for it.
我ながら情けない。せめて正体を暴く手がかりでもあればいいんだけど。
I'm better than this. If only I had a way to peel back its true form. Unconsciously, she let her apprehension show. Sniveling was pointless. She would just have to figure it out by herself, but...
ん？なんだ？正体さえ分かればいいのか？
Huh? What? That's all we needed to that's all we need to figure it out?
Huh? Aoko gave him a look as if to ask what that was supposed to mean.
いや、だからおかしなものはどれかってことだろ？
I mean, you asked me earlier to look for something weird, right?
Soujirouu had also made a face that suggested she had brought it up sooner.
わかるのあんた。
Wait, you know what it is?
多分。いや、結構前から気になっていたんだけど。
I think so. Well, I've been wondering about it for a while, actually.
Soujirouu whispered in her ear quietly so as not to be overheard.
Oh?
It was certainly unexpected, but then again equally obvious. After he explained the mistake, she knew right away that he was correct. At last she had an inkling of Flat Snark's original form, namely... Yep. Thinking of a plan. They strategized for 10 minutes. After deliberating the fight's Snark's true form and figuring out a plan of attack, the two exchanged nods in acceptance of their roles.
それじゃあ、ここからは別行動ね。
We'll be splitting up now.
でも、ミラーハウスの時みたいなのは勘弁してよ。この作戦の肝はあなたなんだから。開始1分でドジったら、本当に打つ手なしだからね。
Just don't make it a repeat of the blunder in the House of Mirrors. You're the crux of this operation. If you bungle the start even a little, there's no coming back from this one. Though she jabbed him from his previous failure as a decoy, her voice was bright. Aoko's original vigor had returned to her at Soujirou's discovery of the truth. How much time is left in the chapter? Yeah, because this seems like a good stopping point. Meanwhile, Soujirouu was also getting serious in his own way. He took Aoko's warning to heart. Yeah, roughly how much is left?
ならいいけど。いい？さっきと立場は反対よ。
Good. But remember that our positions are reversed this time.
失敗したら死ぬのは私じゃなくてそっち。もうフォローに回れないから、できるだけ慎重にね。
If we fail, I'm not the one who's gonna die. You are. I won't be there to clean up your mess, so watch your step.
分かってる。今更ながら、 やっぱりさっき逃がしてもらえばよかったと思う。
Oh, we're only halfway? Oh, God. Oh, God. Wow, this is a long chapter. Holy shit. I thought it was almost over.
I know. After all this, I regret what not taking your advice.
What the hell is the... What? Come on, the grammar in this. Like, seriously.
I regret not taking your advice earlier. I'll be careful.
Soujirouu nodded, telling her to leave it to him. Though he made it sound like he was holding a grudge, it seemed to him to be the only way of showing his resolve. Aoko let out a sigh of defeat. Once more, she couldn't figure him out.
ほんと、大バカなんだか大物なんだか。
Seriously. Alright, then after this scene ends, we'll stop for today. Seriously. I can't tell if you're a big idiot or a big hero.
でも任せた。期待してるわ、しずきくん。
Whichever one it is, I'm counting on you. Don't let me down, lover boy. She'd want to say that she believed in him, but apparently that was too embarrassing for her. Aoko turned away from Soujirouu and began to run. She began to think maybe this change of pace was not so bad after all. All right. Yep, we'll stop here. And so... Perfect. Perfect. Wow, okay. I couldn't ask for a more perfect one. There we go. I couldn't ask for a more perfect screen right that. There we go. And so ended the intermission. And so we will stop here for today and continue in 2 days with the rest of this chapter. Whew. All right, you guys. So yeah, I did not expect this chapter is a lot longer than the previous ones. So oh wait, there's more? Okay. The end of this screen? What do you mean by screen? Oh, there's something that happened in just a few lines, all right. And so ended the intermission. The young cast members were handed their new lines. Whatever happened next, the Night of Witches had at long last entered its climax. Okay, so okay, there we go. There, all right. Okay. All right. Perfect. Frickin' perfect. All right, you guys. I will see you in 2 days for the climax of this exciting chapter. How are they going to deal with Flatsnark? Is it the moon? Is it the bird? I don't know. Is it the whole fucking sky? I'm going to place my bet on the moon. I think. Something huge in the sky. Unless it's the sky itself, I think it's the moon. Because, like, is it something to do with, like, it wasn't a full moon during the night? I forget from the beginning if it was a full moon night or not. And if there was no moon out that night and it was suddenly a full moon, then it's got to be the moon. So it's a fake moon, which would make sense. All right, thank you all so much for joining me. Tomorrow will be Code Steel, and in 2 days will be the continuation of this chapter. So until then, I will say, so long. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call. I'm going to call the stream Shoot the Moon. And if it's not the moon, then I'll change the title of the stream. I choose. Oh, thank you, Reimu. And until next time, I will say, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, good night. You're all the sweetest of hearts. See ya.